The new pack is here, and is it top tier? I'm going to go through some objective analytics and expected end fields and what these decks do. First off, starting with Eclipse Twins. If we click on TCG stats, go on to Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta, we'll see that Eclipse Twins is used primarily in Ryzeal Mitsurugi and Ryzeal. And in my Ryzeal guide, I showcase exactly how to use Eclipse Twins, which was about 3 months ago, and it's finally now here. Now, for everyone else, what should you worry about with this card? Well, if you are activating Impermanence against a Ryzeal Detonator, they are now going to be able to pop themselves while the Eclipse Twins will be sent to the graveyard or while it's currently equipped, and then the Eclipse Twins will trigger to reborn the Detonator back in the field, thus the Impermanence is no good. And then also, it's going to give them further resilience to a Nibiru. Let's say you had multiple hand traps to help play around their field spell. They can focus on getting the Eclipse Twins attached onto Detonator, and then if you Nibiru them after playing through the field spell, they then get to reborn Detonator back in the field. So definitely a boost for Ryzeal, Mitsurugi, and Ryzeal. Let's now move on to something else. Let's look at, whoops, that's popping off. Now, let's look at Sky Striker. How good is Sky Striker Ace Zero? This card is nuts, but we're going to talk about it once I show you the expected end field. Now, if we click on TCG stats, we're going to go into the tier list for this. And if we look at the past 3 months, Control F Sky Striker, it's about down here. It's not that bad. It's actually a pretty good deck. If we look at OCG, if we want to have that, ooh, look at that. That's a top 5 freaking deck. Now, how similar is the deck being built to what we're actually going to be receiving? It looks like a lot of them are playing Radiant Typhoon Vision to help draw 2 cards and search for an MST. We're obviously not getting that, but that's possibly not that big of a deal. Otherwise, this is what the deck's looking like for OCG. If we click on TCG, this is what it's looking like. Now, it's very quickly ×2 the replay here. So big shout out to Chico Master Duel. And then we're going to explain what the field is accomplishing. So, all right, Hornet Drone, summon Kagari, add back the Searcher, and now we're going to be searching for another Engage. Now, what is this end field exactly? He's going to be playing through it, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening. So the opponent's going to be searching, that's fine. We're setting up so we could disrupt. We have triple disruption here, so expect this when you're playing against Sky Striker or playing it yourself, if you want to decide to play this. Right now, we're using the effect to tribute itself to summon 2 Sky Strikers on the field and then destroy a card in the field. So we're going to take out the opposing Hayate, wipe it. So that's disruption number 1. And then we're about to get into disruption number 2. Disruption number 2, we're going to return multiple cards on the opponent's field back to their hand by returning cards in our own graveyard back in the deck. So these are things you're going to have to be looking out for, return back. And now the third form of disruption is whenever they want, they could go activate the effect of Ray to jump into a Sky Striker. That will trigger the card engraved that they just used to return cards back to now use the effect to go into the Zeke. Zeke will then target a card on the field and then banish it until the end phase. So that is the triple disruption play and what you should expect in the deck. So not only that, the 0 having the effect of popping a card in the field, it's a non-target pop. Also on special, someone is able to search for a Sky Striker card, so very good for starting their combos in addition to being a disruption. And then this was the crazy card that gave them 2 additional disruptions where you will target an equal number of Sky Striker monsters and Sky Striker spells in your graveyard, and then you're going to non-target return opposing cards the opponent controls back to the hand. And then this is where the other effect triggers off of the Ray special summon effect, so whenever they want, they then go into, where's the Zeke? Zeke right here. If Link summon, target a face-up monster on the field, so not just any card, banish it until the opponent's next end phase. So it's not just the end of the turn, it is a bit crazier than that. And that's what you have expected with Sky Striker. Let's make this quick and move on to now Lunalight. What can we expect of Lunalight? Let's look at the tier list for Lunalight. We kind of already saw it while we were looking over here at Sky Striker. I'm going to do last 3 months here. Control F, Lunalight. Lunalight is a bit better in the TCG than Sky Striker. If we click on OCG, Control F, Lunalight, a bit worse than Sky Striker in the OCG, but still very freaking good. Look how good that is. Now, if we click on this, unfortunately, if you're a Lunalight player, a lot of people like playing this with Baguska. Baguska is even commonly summoned within their turn 1 play or is a big plan B. So this is the OCG way to play the deck. They could play with the Tri-Brigade. And then you have TCG. This is what they're looking like, again, with Baguska, which they're not going to have. And for those that are playing Foolish Burial Goods, this is limited to 1 in Master Duel. And let's now see what their turn 1 play is, and we'll talk about what's so good about it. So we're going to ×2 speed this. Again, thank you to Chico Master Duel. Let's boost this up, starting off with a Tenki. Tenki search for Leo, normal summon, search, and then it's going to send in the graveyard, then search. We're going to special summon from the deck. We're going to send from the deck. I know this is very fast. You can slow it down if you want to, or go to his channel. We're not here to teach combos. I'm here to showcase what you should expect from this deck to play against this or playing this yourself. That's the core goal here. Explaining the end field and what they do. So that's one of their big boss monsters. And what's crazy about this deck is they're going to summon not 1, but 2 of those boss monsters very commonly. So let's read what these boss monsters are. Their disruptions are, this can non-target destroy special summon monsters, and they could do it twice because they have 2 of them. It's not a hard one per turn. They could link off with Masquerena, but that's going to require linking off their unaffected monster. And then Engrave, they could use an effect that negates a spell or trap card. So let's look at that exactly. Here is the boss disruption. Here is the spell and trap card negates, which is this one. And that's all we have to look at. So Liger Dancer, 3,800 attack, unaffected by card effects, not even activated card effects, which means something like a Mirror Jade swinging in and then wiping away the field during the end phase. That's not going to work against this. So while unaffected by card effects except Lunalight cards can make 2 attacks, and then this is the quick effect that they send a Lunalight from the extra deck to non-target destroy all opponent's special summon monsters. Not truly the same as Mitsurugi, where Mitsurugi's all monsters. This will only be special summoned monsters. So what do you do about this at 3,800 attack and unaffected by everything? Well, if you try to make an access code talker, which usually could be a good way to get around a towers, it's going to destroy it before you even get to make it or as soon as you make it. So I guess one option could be is you could try to make it with the Masquerena, summon a Masquerena, then 2 other bodies, then go right into the access code talker right there. It'll be 4,300 attack, but then, you know, they have to kind of fall for it. And they do have 2 field wipes, so that's going to be a big problem. Here are some counters here I have in my notepad here. We have Santa. What the heck is this? Santa Claus is searchable with the Tract. So if you want a Fiendsmith Tract, you could search this with obviously the Engraver, and then Santa Claus will be the card you'll be searching for directly with the Tract. But again, that's only one of them. So this is why this is going to be an immensely problematic deck. And it's a very good thing that Baguska is also banned. So, I mean, the real answer to stop this is disrupt them with their hand traps before they could even summon this. That is the real answer here. And then we have Mitsurugi with Wuso. Wuso could tribute over the monster, and you could search for the Wuso with your prayers. So that's definitely a nice little boost there. But again, it's only one of them. And then another option, now you could pair up the Wuso and Santa with playing Goddess. I think that's going to be potentially a good option. Now, the problem with Goddess is, how are you getting this many bodies on the field without them wiping the field unless they're suspecting a Goddess, right? They're not going to even let you summon this in most cases. So what's going to be the best answer for this, but I'm not saying you should main deck this, is freaking Lava Golem. It's going to get rid of both of them right away. They're very likely not going to end on just one and no other monsters. If they end on just one, they'll probably have a Masquerena or another monster alongside it. So the Lava Golem should always be live against Lunalight. And if you want to make the Lava Golem even more consistent, you want to get crazy, you could play Thrust. Thrust can search for Lava Golem. Now, how can this search for Lava Golem only after the opponent activates a monster effect during your turn? That would be searching for the Dark Spirit's Mastery. You do have to discard a card for this, but you then get to add a Lava Golem from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Thus, Thrust is an option when playing with this. And something you should also be wary about is, because you saw all these combos on the field to even summon this, they could summon this with one freaking card sometimes, and that is through the heavy polymerization. I've been playing with this. It is so much fun. Oh my Jesus. If we click on this, you'll see in a 5,000 player tournament, this deck list got top freaking 8 with 3 heavy polymerization. So reading this card, fusion summon 1 monster from your extra deck using 3 or more monsters from your hand or field as material, but up to the number of monsters your opponent controls, you can use your extra deck instead of your hand or field. So if you end your turn one with a few bodies on the field and they have heavy polymerization, they're going to activate this probably as their first activation and go immediately into a Liger Dancer. You're probably going to have no answer to this. It's going to be 38 freaking 100 attack. It's going to wipe away your special summon. So what I'm trying to say is that this is going to be a great deck. I think so. It's going to really mess up the meta. We don't have a side deck. People are side decking into Lava Golem. So what do we do with the main deck when this is being summoned all over the place? But again, great thing, they do not have Baguska. That should make the deck a bit weaker. Now, let's move on from Lunalight. We have Utopia. Onomat Utopia. Let's speed this up. All right, so again, we're not here to learn the combo. We're just expected end fields. Gaga girl. They added like an extra Ga, an extra Za, an extra Go to a bunch of these cards, and then they're new. He says put Dragonar in the extra monster zone. Sure. This is a special summon slop deck. Getting super sloppy. Special. Oh my Jesus. What the heck to be accomplished here? What the heck is that trap even? Okay, so there you go. He's about to set the trap. So maybe thinking like, holy crap, this is the best deck ever. Well, this deck does not exist in the TCG as pure Onomat. No one is playing this. It is not on the tier list. So if we were to look at that, Goblin is the new card, right? Goblin Badurg. Yeah, this. It's got no, if we look at this, this is for Genesis. So these are only Genesis decks. Genesis. This is a fake format. Otherwise, if we had a TCG deck list here, it would completely replace the Onomat. Now, if we click on OCG, there is just one dude. One dude got top 4 of a 239 player event. And with that summon slop field, I guess one of the cooler cards is this one that's going to be more techable in other decks, which it's just 2 Xyz monsters of the same rank. Now, this card is seeing some use, at least not on the TCG recently. If we click OCG, Ryzeal, 35% are playing this. Now, if it's summoned in Ryzeal, which will more often actually see this being used, your opponent's monsters cannot target monsters for attack except this one. Also, your opponent cannot target other cards on the field with card effects, you know, so this will accept this one. It's going to give targeting protection to your other cards on the field. And when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, this has to directly chain to that card or effect on the field, kind of like a Little Knight. You'll detach a material and then non-target take control of one monster your opponent controls, and then this cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. It's going to be quite annoying. And I think a common way to summon this will probably be with Plasma Hole, the secondary effect. After you banish this card from the graveyard, Xyz summon using a Ryzeal, so it'll be the duo drive and being something else, and then they get to surprise summon this on you unless they're summoning on the turn 1. Now, looking at pure Ryzeal, a lot of them are main deck in these Onomat cards. So I'll say that while this is a pure Onomat replay, these Onomat cards are mostly going to be supporting pure Ryzeal. So looking at this Ryzeal deck breakdown, I think a good question could be, well, what about Ryzeal Mitsurugi? Well, if we click on Do Warrior, which is one of the main cards, pure Ryzeal, OCG stats, pure Ryzeal. So if you're playing Ryzeal Mitsurugi, you pretty much do not bother with the new Onomat cards. And I think a big fear against this deck is going to be this. Banshee searching for Protos is what you're not going to want to be dealing with. And what the heck is this trap that I'm not familiar with? When a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated while you control an Xyz monster, well, that's not going to be difficult. Negate the activation, then you could detach 2 materials from a monster you control, then destroy, non-target destroy 1 card in the field after negating anything. That's kind of crazy. And then, you know, they had Giant Hand, which is, I think, is like a negate a monster. It's probably not going to be, we have a negate a monster, take control of a monster, negate a monster, then take control, negate anything with a counter trap. Great, mate. But again, Ryzeal is going to be the main beneficiary of this, I should say. Now, what is left in this pack is we have Monarch. Let's see the Monarch replay real quick. And again, everything is from Chico Macedol, so thank you very much. Let's ×2 speed this and try to understand what the heck this is. Now, pay attention to the opponent's hand. Boom. Blue Eyes is back in the deck. Randomly return a card back in the deck from the opponent's hand. The field spell, I believe, is a Floodgate. I got to double check read these. And then we got that trap. Okay, so this will be an expected turn 1 field. Rip a card in the hand, at least one. Let's look at Monarchs. If we look at the tier list here, we go last 3 months, Control F. Monarch all the way down here. That is not good. We click on OCG, Monarch. All the way down there. We have one top in the past 3 months for both the OCG and in TCG. As you can see here, back in May, July, September, and then we have one top within the TCG, which is a regional here, as you can see there. I think this is concerning, though. Being able to summon a Vanity Fiend or a Majesty Fiend, neither player could activate monster effects. Vanity Fiend, neither player could special summon monsters. What else is floodgatey here? He had the field spell, right? The field spell states that while you have no cards in your extra deck and you are the only player that controls a tribute summon monster, your opponent now cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. But with Mitsurugi being prevalent, that's not that big of a deal. Murakumo wipe away the tribute summoned monster on the field, and then they could go into their extra deck. So if this is a core part of the deck, I can't see this being that prevalent. Now, if we go back to the Monarch breakdown here, let's click OCG. Did they even have that trap? Yes. So what the heck is this? Is this a floodgate? It's a continuous trap. I have no idea what this does. Once per chain, if your opponent special summons a monster and you control a tribute summon monster. Ooh, okay. Once per chain, you could banish a Monarch spell trap from your graveyard, then activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of Monarchic Perfection per turn. You can, so your opponent special summons a monster, you activate this to destroy their monster. It's a non-target destroy, and then you can't activate this part again. You can destroy up to 2 spell and trap cards in the field, non-target pop up to 2. Discard a random card from the opponent's hand. So they summon a crappy monster, they're going to discard from your hand first, and then pop a monster afterward. Destroy a face-down non-target, place 1 card on the field on top of the deck. Ooh, wait, this is kind of nuts. Special summon, destroy, special summon, put it back on top of the deck, special summon again, banish it from the field. So this is a triple disruption, at least. Triple disruption on special summon if you're not able to deal with the tribute summon monster on the field. And then they also had it so you can't summon from the extra deck. This is kind of interesting. And then what's this dude doing on the field? I'm not sure if he actually does something on the field. It is this one, right? It looks very similar to this. Wait, which one is it? This is the left hand. This is the right hand. The right hand one's up. So the right hand, what does he do? If this card is summoned, you can add a Monarch, declare. If he tributes, you can add this card. It's doing nothing. So there you go. Floodgate with the field spell, and then have the trap, and then hopefully they're not playing the Vanity Fiend, Vanity, all that nonsense. Let's see, is that even popular in the OCG? So we know from the TCG that one dude topping is playing the Fiends with the floodgates built in. If you look at the OCG, let's see, they have Caius. I think one of these discard a card from your hand. I guess it's not actually that prevalent. This one's not taking cards in your hand. I don't think so. What else is good? Is this a hard once per turn? Let's read this real quick. Erebus, tribute summoned. If tribute summoned, shuffle card. This is not a hard once per turn. So if you're able to tribute summon this more than once, I'm not sure if they have an effect that allows them to continually tribute summon. That's going to be multiple cards from your hand put back into the deck. And what other floodgates are they using? I mean, this is kind of like a not really that much of a floodgate, but okay, kind of interesting. So this is also another option, the Sphere mode being used against Lunalight. And, you know, in addition to triple pop and the cancel for the extra deck, let's see what their other end fields are. I guess this is very similar to the other one. Let's see if he has another one here. It just continually doing pretty much the same thing, but it looks like the other combos, they're not even ending up on the trap. They're just setting up with the field spell, floodgate, and that is it, mate. Okay. Well, that's the Monarchs erupt. That's a kind of like a skill drain, which will be negating anything while they have nothing in the extra deck. Now, that is everything from the new pack. Ryzeal support, Rogue support with Monarchs, not going to be that good. We have Eclipse Twins, going to be great for Detonator. Lunalight Liger Dancer is going to possibly mess up the entire meta because no one's going to be, like currently right now, no one is main decking an out for 2 Liger Dancers on the field. That's going to almost be a first turn kill. So will this completely screw everything up as we're all going to have to, what, main deck freaking Lava Golem? Or we're going to have to main deck a Kaiju and then a Goddess, but then a plan to even go into the Goddess. And I do also expect some great things from Sky Striker Ace Zero. Nuts. Non-target pop. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's now the icon of the game and all that good stuff. So what are some quick comments? Thick, furry thighs. Yep. White Forest win, obviously, for December, right? No White Forest, no Eldritch, no Live Twin. Are we serious? No White Forest, they're pissed. I was waiting for Onomat, didn't expect it this early. Well, it does coincide with Ryzeal getting hit. So if you're a Ryzeal player upset that you got hit, it's now time to not only enjoy Eclipse Twins, but also Onomats to help, compensate for the hits. And with that said, we're going to have a stream on twitch.tv/Decade, $1,000 tournament qualifier with the new pack and the new ban list applied. I'm hoping some good things for Lunalight. I'm actually quite afraid of this. Another option could be Herald of the Abyss, but oh gosh, it's just, I keep on saying it, the problem. All these cards deal with 1 Liger Dancer. I'm very much afraid of what this deck is going to do. Getting 2 giant towers on the field, and all the good outs are just deal with 1 of them. So you tell me what your plans are. Maybe you're just going to play Lunalight yourself, and then maybe people are just going to complain and say, hey, this was overhyped. It's too difficult to get 2 out because if the opponent has a single hand trap, it's not really a possibility to get this out. And then maybe too many, at least pure Mitsurugis are already main decking the Wuso. If we click on pure Mitsurugi, we look at tournaments at least. Wuso is down here. So that's about 44% usage. Almost half of the Mitsurugi decks are inherently having an out to at least 1 of the Ligers, but you can only special summon this once per turn this way. Otherwise, it'd be crazy dealing with 1 Liger Dancer, then you destroy this with your Murakumo, that is, and then add this back to your hand in some way, and then summon it again. Not going to be possible. But if you want to play Mitsurugi with Fiendsmith, which is definitely a viable way to play the deck. So as you can see here, there's a lot of people that are in fact doing that. Just scroll down if you want to type in Engraver. I guess the option for you is going to be play Wuso and also play Santa Claus in 1. I'm not sure why this is bugging out on me. Engraver. Come on, there we go. So all decks with Engraver, if you want to put in a Wuso and a Santa Claus, you're going to be able to search for the Wuso and search for the Santa Claus. And maybe that's going to be one of your best ways to deal with this scenario. And you may be thinking, oh, I have to hard open up the Engraver. You don't. You can. All you have to do is, if you're able to go into the Fiendsmith plays, use Lacrima to add the Engraver back to your hand, and you're gonna have to deal with them also trying to disrupt you. And then once you add back the Engraver could add the Tract, and then Tract could add the Santa Claus, and then also hopefully your Mitsurugi cards are also adding the Wuso in addition to the Santa Claus, and thus you now have the out to both of the Ligers on field. If that catches on, that's gonna be quite insane. And now if Kaijus pick up because of Eclipse Twins existing, I was going to say that the Kaijus are great against Detonator, but now that they're going to have Eclipse Twins, they're going to have already inherent resilience to a potential Kaiju meta that we may be entering. So this should be fun. I'll see you on the tournament. Let's go.